Hey, if you are listening to this show, you might be interested in my project to learn more about secure coding. Visit websecurity-academy.com to get started.
One case that really interested me was the Uber breach in 2022. What happened there was the attackers started a social engineering campaign on one of the Uber employees, and they've committed MFA flooding, meaning that they've sent him too much requests for an MFA, and after a certain point the employee broke and he accepted that, and he let the attackers in, which to some extent might be a problem, but the real problem was that the attackers were able to go to scan the environment, and they found some PowerShell scripts, and those scripts contained hard-coded secrets or hard-coded credentials for a domain admin account for something called Tycotic. Tycotic is basically a PAM system, a privilege access management system.
Hello, and welcome to Dev Academy Podcast, your gateway to the insights and wisdom of prominent experts and engineers from around the globe. I'm your host, Bartosz from Dev Academy, and it's my mission to help you glean insightful knowledge from the vast experiences of our distinguished guests. Each week, we will delve into timeless topics in software development, focusing on crucial areas like security, quality, and design. Welcome, Hung Ngo. Today is on the show with us, and welcome. How are you today?
Hey Bartosz, hey everyone. Thanks again for having me. It's an honor for me actually. I'm fine, and you?
Yes, I'm excited because we have another time on the show when we are going to empower, or at least try to empower, developers with security-related topics and skills and ideas. And the topic of today's show is going to be secrets management, right?
Yeah, exactly. It's something that I'm quite passionate and interested about, so feel free to ask.
Great. So, we're trying to find guests who are representing some passion or some, skills towards particular topic, and then try to get as much as we can on the show so that people who listen, so you guys, can benefit from that. So, Hung, before we start, can you tell us one quick intro about your journey to software development, security, and all the things up until secrets management about yourself?
Well, actually, I've originally started as a software developer. I was working mainly with the web applications and also then with some Python automation script and this kind of stuff for one of the Fortune 500. But after some time I've spent there, I've noticed that we've been doing, and by we I mean myself as well, we've been doing some stuff pretty poorly. We didn't have an overview about the security, and we don't know what the best practices are. So that's what nudged me into the way of or into the learning of application security, which is something I'm quite passionate about. And I've decided to pursue a career within the cybersecurity. So I switched the company, I switched the field. I've started as a beginner, and I'm currently grinding my way up the ladder, and hopefully one day I will become some kind of a cybersecurity sensei, one might say. So basically I'm using my previous experience as a software developer in the application security, and since I've saw that there have been some problems with, for example, the secrets management, with hard coding the secrets. We will be talking about it in this episode. I've decided to basically jump and move into the cybersecurity. And I've been quite active within a couple of communities, which maybe bring me some spotlight. That also, I believe that within cybersecurity, I was able to meet much more interesting and funny people. Don't take me wrong. I still enjoy hanging out with my developer friends, but within this cybersecurity, I now feel much more empowered.
Cool. So based on what you said, I believe that you are the great person on the show, because the mission is to empower software developers. And as you said, you were a software developer jumping into the field of security and application security. So you have the perfect background. And just a funny question before we start nitty-gritty. If you could time travel, would you go to the past or the future, and why there?
Okay, so this one is really funny because I've listened to most of the previous episodes, and I knew that you will be asking, and I'm still thinking, but honestly, to be honest, I would most probably choose past. The reason why is because like I quite enjoy history. If I wouldn't pursue a career in informational technology or cybersecurity, I would most likely be like a history teacher. So I would take the opportunity to go back in the time to like see all the historical events, to be able to analyze them. I'm also like quite right now I'm working with log management and with the way how we should like ingest logs and this kind of stuff also, which is important for the applications as well. So like these activities are more likely is more about like looking into the logs, trying to piece out the history of what happened. I wouldn't probably go as far as into the most far away years. For example, just like my friend Randall wanted to go into the past so he can see the dinosaur. That would be I would be scared of a dinosaur. So yeah. But I think I would go into the past or maybe a future to just see the progress that we made as a society. So
interesting perspective to combine the logs management in the software with the history lessons and the way we can perceive and analyze the history. That's something that I never thought about before. So great answer. Okay, Hung or Hung. I'm sorry if I say
both are okay actually. I'm used
really?
to. Yeah, people are butchering my name in all the way, shape, or form. So like any way you want.
But I want to say it properly, so it's Hung still. It's an Asian Vietnamese name, as you mentioned before. So if we narrow down this conversation about secrets management, can you explain what actually this stuff of secrets management is and why it is so crucial for modern web software development?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, actually, so secrets management like is a set of let's say tools and methodologies that you can use to securely manage what some might call digital authentication credentials. By that, you can imagine passwords, certificates, keys, API tokens, basically anything you, or in this case, your application might need for authentication and authorization. For web applications especially, the proper secret management is crucial since web applications often interact with other services, such as databases, for example, which requires the use of credentials that should remain confidential. If the secrets get exposed, malicious actors could gain an access to the system, which could lead to data breaches, identity theft, and much more. Also, like within many industries, there are compliance regulations put in place that should require the protection of sensitive information. In Europe, for example, that's GDPR, and within US, it's HIPAA.
Mm-hmm. But what you say is very interesting because I think, or I hope that the days when we used hard-coded credentials and secrets are gone, but probably I'm way too optimistic and there are still applications and teams who do that. But from the other side, if you are shifting left, there are tools that can immediately hint the developer who maybe by accident, maybe by lack of knowledge, is making a commit or push to the repository, and the secrets are detected. And almost all nowadays tools like SAST is able to alarm that hey, you shouldn't be pushing that to the code. So what is your take on that?
Yeah, well, actually, I think that what you are saying is true. But at the same time, for example, let me share a small story or a recent experience that I had. I was speaking at like a small local meetup about secret management, and I was like giving a talk, and I was like showing the numbers, and I was mentioning that like a bunch of people are still hard coding the secrets, and like some dude in the audience, he was probably like 20 or 40 years older than me. He stand up and he told me like, hey. Well, I was dealing with this sorry to be vulgar. I was dealing with this shit like 20 years ago, and like, so people are still hard coding secrets, and I was like, yeah, they are hard coding secrets. And why do you think it's so? Well, because like if you are, for example, learning how to program, and you go to the Stack Overflow and you look for how to connect to the database, the first code snippet that you will get is a code snippet where there are like hard coded secrets. If you will ask the ChatGPT to provide you with the examples of the code, and let's face it, nowadays we have a bunch of programmers who are using ChatGPT and just like putting together codes that are generated by the AI. The most frequent code snippet also contains hard-coded secrets. So hard coding secrets, it's quite a large problem right now. You are correct that there are a bunch of tools that can prevent it. For example, you have certain like secret scanners, like a dedicated secret scanners, let's say Git Guardian, but not only that, you also have like a Git leaks, Trufflehawk, all these kind of stuff that you can like include into your CI/CD pipeline, and they can scan the secrets for you. But they will probably not prevent you from committing the secrets. For that, you can use something such as like a Git hook that would scan for a secret. And if they realize that you are really like committing a secret, and the way how they are mainly like discovering that you are using a secret is by counting the entropy, because like the secrets, the passwords, the access tokens, they usually contain like very different data. So like the scanners are looking for the occurrence of a different data, and by that they can say, okay, so that's the secret. I should probably prevent that. Some of those actually, and they are mainly like used, but most often I still see people hard coding secrets. Actually, it's one of the many sins that the developer might commit, pun intended. But like it could end up being quite disastrous, and like I've done it myself as well.
Great elaboration. I would like to add a couple of comments. First of all, for those who may not be familiar, Git hook is a special mechanism in Git that can allow to create some procedure or a script or a function that will happen when you have particular events in your SCM. So whenever you would like to make a commit or push, you may attach a script that will be run automatically. You don't have to think about it. And those scripts that you attach to your particular actions may, for example, be executing some scanning for the secrets, and then they may allow or prevent the action from happening based on the error that the script is going to return. So this is one thing. Another thing that you mentioned is that the problem has been there for many years, and it's still there, and especially in the area of AI generated code this is not going to be easier, but the serious about security developers will probably be more cautious, and that's why we are trying to get out of this topic into the more public debate. So if we continue about some common mistakes when actually managing secrets, is there anything to comment on the very fact of hard coding the secrets, because you mentioned also entropy. So this is something that maybe we can also describe, is that entropy is something that can tell how random the secret is, right? Because maybe another problem is not only the fact that you are hard coding it, but maybe you are using some default secrets, or they are too simple to be secret anymore, right? So entropy is something that you can somehow verify how secret, or as technically speaking random, this secret is. So what are the mistakes that also we can discuss, and what can be done to avoid those managing secrets issues?
Yeah, like for the first thing, for example, like the first problem was hard coding secrets. That's quite a large one. and there are many ways how you can either like prevent it or mitigate it. The first thing that I should probably mention is, and I quite like that one, is that GitHub, for example, if you are pushing a secret and they will like scan the code and they know that you are pushing a secret into the public repository, they will block it from, I believe it's February or March 2024 this year. They will prevent it from pushing into the private repositories as well, which is like quite cool. Previously there wasn't anything like that. For GitLab, I'm not sure whether they are doing it or not. But like, yeah, with hard coding secrets, there are several ways how you can prevent it. Probably the simplest one would be to use environmental variables. That also has its difficulties, it's like niches, but like basically you can create an environmental variable file, or you can insert something into like the environmental variables on the host itself, and you can then call it from the application. But using git ignore, which is a file in which you can specify which other files should not be included in your commit, you can prevent the environmental variables to be published into the repository. The disadvantage of that is that anyone who would be able to access the system would be able to bring out the environmental variables and the data from it, meaning our secrets. So like you should also like encrypt those. And in combination with that, like there's also a problem that like some type of the systems, and I believe that like it's most of them can pull the contents of the environmental variables into its logging. So like in the case that there might be some error, the value of the environment variable might appear within the log, which is something that you wouldn't want. But like environmental variables, that's basically the first way how you can harden it. And like the more preferred one is to use a dedicated secrets manager tool. There are a bunch of those. Some of them are easier to integrate, and you can basically like use them because like they encrypt the secrets in both in storage, and some of those also like in transit to the application. Then you should also like encrypt those if you are, for example, transmitting them elsewhere. So like, yeah, the best practice in this would be to use a dedicated tool. Every major cloud provider has one. Also, there's HashiCorp Vault, and I've been, for example, in the past recent weeks, I've been fiddling with a tool that's called in Physical, which is like a lightweight version of a secrets management tool.
Mm-hmm. So you already jumped into best practices, which was my next question. And,
well, I'm working as a consultant, so you know that's
sure.
my kind of job. So
yeah, I know. That's what we all do to provide solutions to the problems. Okay, so you mentioned secrets management tool. Were you actually referring to also, or maybe it's something that you will describe differently, the secret vault that is very commonly used in different providers, that you can somehow put it in the vault, it's going to be stored, it's going to be secretly hidden from any other third parties and used only by the application whenever it's needed.
Yeah, I was referring to that.
Okay, because I had in my mind the very idea of the vault. You didn't refer it as a vault, but you mentioned that there's a special way of doing it.
Yeah, sorry.
and I was like,
wasn't really selling it, so.
And I was like, it feels like he's talking about the vault. I mean, yeah, but I need to double check on that, right?
I like the first thing that came into my mind was like HashiCorp Vault, so. Yeah.
So let's put it again. What is Vault, so that we can, someone who maybe never heard about it and just listen to this and, hey, this is a real problem these guys are talking about. How can I just today try to, maybe on my own project or maybe in the company, say, hey guys, we should start using vaults because our secrets are not properly managed.
Yeah, well, so basically, as you mentioned, the vault is an encrypted storage that it's basically like a third-party application, or if in case that you are in cloud, most of the cloud providers have their dedicated dedicated vaults in which you can put the secret, you can assign it to an alias name, and then from like your source code you can call the secret value from the application directly, meaning that you don't have to hard code the secret. The application would reach out to the vault, it would get the secret, and it would like ingest it into the runtime basically.
Mm-hmm. Yes, exactly. So instead of just using your homegrown solution, you can just use this kind of tool and then have an alias, which is totally separated solution from your application code, and you just know, hey, if I use this reference name, and I have this tool, it will give me that value whenever it's needed. I don't have to manually copy, paste, or hard code, or whatever might be to have this secret ingested into the runtime.
Exactly.
Any other good practices that we can share right now when it comes to vaults or any other managing solutions than vaults?
Yeah. Also, like, the one reason why we are using vaults, or why we should use vaults, is because they help us set up everything that we basically need. Because like if you have the secret, you also have to manage, for example, who is accessing the secrets. You might have like a separate groups, and only a dedicated or a certain group might be able to access the secret. That was quite of a large problem within the environmental variables, because like everyone who has the admin access to the host might be able to pull out the environmental variables. Within vaults, you can specify which group of users can access that certain secret. That might be also good, because like you can specify that only, for example, the application team and also like the service itself can reach out to it, but no one else. In the cloud, it's mainly like hidden behind the IAM, the Identity and Access Management, meaning that, like, for example, in AWS or in Azure, they have their specific vaults, and in order to access those, you have to have the identity, for example, provided by the Azure Active Directory, which is provisioning the identities. So, like, only if you have that certain identity, you can access the vault. And one of the next problems that the vault is helping us to deal with is rotating the secrets. Because when you, for example, create a secret, you don't want it to stay the same for the whole time. For example, the secrets on the production environment, you might want to rotate. That means like change. Quite often. The reason why is because if, for example, your secrets gets leaked, even like the hashed version of the secrets, the ones that might not be able to, that the attackers might not be able to leverage easily, they might still try to like brute force them. They might try to use various dictionaries with the common passwords, with the common secrets. Then they might try to hash those and then compare the hashes. By rotating the secrets, you are making it harder for them, because like it would take them much more time to break through your secrets basically. And the advantage of using Vault is because you can set up dynamic secrets in there. You can set up automated rules that are basically like rotating all the secrets for you. Let's say like once in a month, once in 3 months, for example, for the applications or for the secrets that are not that hard. For some of those secrets might not be able to be rotated. For example, a host name of a database, but that should be stored in a configuration file, probably not in the secret vault.
Yes. So when you mentioned, I had some story to share about it, but yeah. First of all, you said that rotating is important because even if the hashed version leaked, they can use adversary actors may use some dictionaries, and there are also if there is known algorithm for the hashing, there are already pre-computed rainbow tables that can be way faster than computing each and every possible case, right? So rainbow table is a ready pre-computed list for the given secret that may be common, and its hash. So it's very fast and easy to just look through the dictionary like that, rather than pre-computing or computing on the fly the given sequence, trying to find and guess the hash of the version, because you mentioned that even if the hashed secret is leaked, it's still a risky situation, right?
Exactly. Also, like to bypass the rainbow tables, you can consider sorting the hashes, meaning like adding the arbitrary section of the data at the end or at the beginning. This is like or this is used because like within the hashing, if you take for example a word and you will hash it, it will always produce you the same hash. But if you change at least one character, it should produce you the completely different hash. So meaning like if you add some salt at the beginning or at the end, it might also like help you to secure your secrets.
Mm-hmm. Yes. Another idea is to use a algorithm that is designed for the secrets, which provides you with the work factor that you can steer the time intensity of the computation, which may be making guessing just infeasible because it will take you way too much time, and it's still something that you should consider. Another thing that I just reminded myself is said that Vault is providing a couple of benefits from the environmental files. For example, let's talk about sharing the secrets with new developers, because I bet that someone who has been in the software industry at least have the situation that they join the team, and we have this special environmental file. This is for staging, this is for acceptance, this is for production, this is pre-prod. And what happens when you don't have a Vault? Usually they will say, hey, let me send you, because you mentioned this is git ignore, it's not in the repo, but when someone joins the team, they need this. So what they usually do,
I still remember the days when people shared the passwords and the credentials to the database via Microsoft Teams, actually.
That's what I wanted to say.
Oh,
I mean,
sorry.
This is this secret file. Don't give it to anyone. This contains all the secrets and passwords. I will send it to you via Teams or Slack or email or Discord, whatever you use. So some people are smart enough to use the zip archive with the password, so that at least in the transit between the sender and the receiver, for example, like email, we know that most major email providers read the contents of your emails. It's not that, for example, that Gmail is free. It's not free. The cost of the Gmail is your privacy in some sense, because they can see the contents of your emails. So at least if they send you it via some public channel, like this environmental file, they encrypt it and they use a different channel to provide you with the password. There is some sense of rationality here, because you send it over the email, for example, it's completely encrypted, and they send you an SMS, hey, you can just an example, you can decode this file with this and that password. Please remember that this is confidential. But it's a hassle. It's not an easy solution, right? It still has some risks. And not to mention that not everyone would just think about it, hey, I shouldn't be sending this over the public channel, but this is a new guy, he joined yesterday and he needs access to the testing system. So I think we have a similar experiences in this industry when we
I believe that like almost every developer went through at least one of the projects where people were like publicly sharing the the credentials through Teams and various other means. So yeah.
So another reason to consider using a Vault is that situation when as simple as this, a new person joins the team and they need these accesses, so they need to somehow receive it. And again, I mean, if that person sending it is aware of how delicate the topic is, and making sure that they encrypt it at least, it is not that bad, but it is not the best, I would say, right?
Yep.
In order to avoid that, we can use Vault. So do you have any tools that you can recommend, like Go Get, for people who would say, we should stop doing this stuff, we should start using some tool for managing secrets? How can they integrate this into their workflow from more on the practical level? Some examples?
Yeah, for example, I've already mentioned HashiCorp Vault. That one is quite popular. I believe that to some extent it's free. From a certain point, it's not. What I'm fiddling right now is some vault that is called InPhysical, which is basically like doing the same. It's more oriented on the environmental variables and on tracking and rotating those. So that's quite interesting take. Also, like if you are, for example, running your code within the given like a cloud provider, be it Azure, AWS, or Google, they all have their own vaults. So like it would not make much sense to go with something else, but like sometimes I see that companies are trying to centralize their secrets management under one certain provider, and the way how you usually like integrate those is by an API, or there are like various plugins that you can use within your CI/CD pipelines that can like inject the code themselves. So like you usually like take the vault itself, you connect it to the identity provider, and after that you can use it within your environment.
Cool. So let's talk about some real world scenarios. Do you recall any situation when improper secret management caused a major issue in some projects or initiatives that you can encounter?
I will later talk about one of my personal experiences, but like for example, one case that really interested me was the Uber breach in 2022. What happened there was like the attackers started a social engineering campaign on one of the Uber employees, and they've committed like MFA flooding, meaning that like they've sent him too much requests for an MFA, and after a certain point the employee broke and he accepted that, and he let the attackers in, which to some extent might be a problem, but the real problem was that the attackers were able to go to scan the environment, and they found some PowerShell scripts, and those scripts contained hard-coded secrets or hard-coded credentials for a domain admin account for something called Tycotic. Tycotic is basically a PAM system, a privileged access management system. The privileged access management systems, they control access to multiple systems, and they are also like a single point of failure. Because like they store both user credentials, employee access to internal services, and third-party apps and cloud providers. So like from that, they were able to get to the cloud accounts. They were able to get to their XDR, which was Central One, I believe, that at that point, and all other like accounts. So like from breaking from a certain point, they were able to get everywhere, and that's also like one of the ways how what they could have done. In one of the previous episodes, you've talked to Marek Schottel, to one of my friends, and what I really enjoyed that he mentioned, and not many people think about that, because like when you get someone's credential, the first thing that you think about is that you can get the data basically, and the data is everything that matters. But like there's also like the computational power within the AWS. You can span more resources. You can enlarge the bill for the user, and all this kind of stuff. So that was like, for example, one story that really intrigued me. But it started with the MFA flooding, which was like something that was quite interesting for me at the beginning, because like I imagined the dude sitting in his chair in the evening, getting all the notifications and breaking at a certain point.
So you mentioned that it started from MFA flooding, then they got into the system, they found a PowerShell script, and they found the secrets, and it all started this way, which sounds pretty easy if you think about it, right? So this is very multi-layered problem, I would say, that it is really hard, and the only thing you can do is to minimize the potential attack surface. Secrets management in different environments, how do you think we can best leverage the, I would say, different environment secrets usage? Like we have development, testing, and production.
Mm-hmm.
So you definitely don't want a production key in the testing environment and vice versa. So how this can be also solved with some best practices or maybe some tools?
For example, as you've already mentioned, the first thing that you don't want is to mix the secrets. You don't want your production keys to appear in the testing environment or vice versa, or in the development environment as well. Within development environment, that's one of the crucial points, because like developers usually need to write the initial test code, and they need to change it frequently. They need to access various services, their database, their other providers, and this kind of stuff, and other APIs, for example, for testing purposes. So what they are using there are some placeholder secrets that are not then used in the production. So like that's different. But even better than that would be a local secret manager. For example, the HashiCorp Vault that we've been mentioning earlier. And I don't want to do advertisement for Vault, but like it can.
This is not a sponsored podcast yet.
Not yet, but like if anyone from HashiCorp or from IBM, I believe, because like they got acquired, listens to the show, they might consider reaching out to you. So for example, in the Vault, you can set up a developer mode, which allows you to simulate the handling of the secrets without like risking to exposing it. So like you can make a mock-up that might be useful for you. Then if you move to the testing environment, it should like mimic the production environment, like one-to-one. That would be the best case scenario, but you don't want to use the same secret. So, for example, you can set up certain groups of secret that would be different for the testing environment and for the production environment, but would do the same. Like within the testing environment, what you basically need to do is like setting up or like testing the secret injection to test whether you can inject the secret in the runtime. You also like have to make sure that only, for example, the test engineers and the automated systems can get to these. And then, like within the production environment, you have to basically like do everything multiplied by 10 or some factor, because like there you have to, for example, encrypt the secrets. Within the testing environment, you don't have to necessarily do that, but like it's good, but you don't have to do that. Within production environment, that's like must have. You have to test the automated rotation within the production environment as well, and also like. In the production, it makes much more sense, and it's much more important to set the proper auditing, so you can see who accessed the secret at what time, how was it changed, and this kind of stuff. So these are the ways how each of this environment is different. But like the idea of it is that you are using let's say like a secure solution right from the beginning, right from the development. So like it's not that hard for you to, let's say at the end of the development, to switch into using a proper vault.
Okay, so I based on what you said, we should start it from the development phase. But what about small teams, individuals, or maybe startups with very limited resources? Because when you talk about Uber, you probably talk about a very high budget, very different setup compared to a very small team or a startup or solo founders with not that many resources in whatever it means, perspective of time and money, which are the resources. We usually think about we need some time or we need money. So how can we tackle this problem from very limited perspective, very limited resources perspective? Is this something that comes with a huge cost, in your opinion, and we should not compromise on that, or there is some middle ground?
Okay, actually, as you've mentioned, like startups and like doing things, let's say like properly or the enterprise way of doing, because like startups, they mostly like want to develop a prototype quite fast, get to the market, get the funding, and be able to expand. So like often there are like difficulties because like they have to deal with they like want to focus on a product, not necessarily on the security, but as well if you as well we can say like if you have a startup, it's much easier to make the change in the process. Within the environment, it takes a whole change management to be able to change at least something, for example, to integrate a new technology or to
in the enterprise.
Yeah,
in
yeah.
the enterprise.
And to switch to the Vault. Within the startup, it's quite easy. It's much easier to make the decision and to switch. Well, actually, it kind of depends. For a smaller project and for like that would have a much smaller which that would be like much smaller. You can use environmental variables, and it would be totally okay for that if you can control it. But as I mentioned, like most often, for example, the certain vaults, they have special offers for startups, or they are like dedicated that like to a certain point of developers, you don't have to pay. For example, the tool that I was discovering recently, in physical, it was up to 25 developers, and it from like my point of view and from my point of testing as a one man army, let's say, or a one developer, it was quite easy to integrate. And if I'm a startup, I have only like a few employees, I can start there, and after some time I can move to other solutions. It's most of those are currently like integrated between each other, or they can be integrated through another provider, meaning that, for example, the secret that you have in let's say in physical, you can then transfer into the HashiCorp Vault securely.
So, based on what you said, I just have a spark of idea, because I'm talking with a large number of great minds like you, Randall, Marek, and others who are sharing so interesting insights that now I think, how about creating a roadmap, for example, maybe for a startup, for all those great insights, like, hey, you probably need to think about secrets management if you're starting a new project. This is the fastest way to do this. And then a short tutorial, like a roadmap, because secret management is just one of tons of topics that you have to implement to, make some decent level of security, for example, in this new project or startup and something, because when you are limited in the resources, there are very many questions. How do we do that?
What should we focus on first? Yeah.
Exactly, because in the enterprise there are already people, there are teams who have started something and they have some idea on how to proceed. In this case, there is maybe there is already a playbook, like, hey, 101 security for software in startups, and something that just sparked through my head. And one of the chapters would be, here is the fastest and easiest way to start with secrets management for your next SaaS project, right? And then we have Hung, who will tell us, I have spent 2 or 3 hours integrating this because it's free, up to 25 developers. You don't have to invest that much time and money, and boom, we have a great insight.
Yeah, let's do that. I'm up for it. Just hit me after the recording. We can get together our crew and we can start creating something.
Great.
It sounds great, actually. I'm not aware of any type of like this kind of a resource on the market. So like for me, that would be a quite good idea.
Like a playbook or a roadmap to start secure application development. Okay, let's see. To continue our discussion, do you think there are any future trends in this regard? How because we already experienced the very large movement, which is called shift left, that at the beginning there was no such a term like DevSecOps. There were regular cycles: design, create, develop, test, and then the security testing was the last part. We know that, right? So they spend enormous resources to build that thing, and then they hire the team of red teamers, for example, trying to break the system, which sometimes works, but history shows that this might not be the best approach, and shifting left and up until the design process, having this security design in place. So in terms of this evolution, that okay, now we are shifting left, we are trying to move from DevOps to DevSecOps, we integrated SCA, SAST, Dust, and any secret management tool. Do you see any evolution in regards to secret management today as compared to maybe a few years back, or it's still slow adoption of the tools?
Well, like from my point of view, I think that people are more cautious about the secrets now more than ever. That's because of all the breaches, and a bunch of those can be like attributed to poor secret management. So like, and also like dealing with secrets, it's one of the easier stuff to change within the company. Even though, like for example, dealing with the secrets that has been leaked, it's quite difficult. Especially if, for example, they are like nested within the history of the code commits. For example, if you are pushing a new feature out and you are creating like a commits into a separate branch, and at a certain point you forgot that you've put a commit there, and then like you've pushed the whole history, and like the project is quite large, it has a bunch of branches, it's quite hard to like cherry pick a certain commit and to remove it. There are certain tools that can do that, but like that's one of the issues, and people are starting to deal with that. For example, what I can see within the companies is that they are putting much more emphasis on automation, that being like the ultimate secret rotation, the remediation of exposed secrets. For example, there's a certain group of people, they are called Git Guardian. They publish secret sprawl report yearly. That's like a report of how many secrets leaked and in which industries and what were the types of the secrets and stuff. And they found like a 13 million more secrets leaked, which is amazing. But like with those, people are more, for example, seeing that a bunch of these secrets are the OpenAI tokens, meaning, for example, people who are creating the database, the applications using OpenAI or using the assistants. Often they get their access tokens leaked because they've hard coded those into secrets, because the AI told them that they should do so. So like I can definitely see that, for example, now before the recording I was checking the ChatGPT-4, I was asking it for a code, and it like warned me that hard coding secrets is not a good practice. So I can like definitely see the development in that area. We might also like see more because like everything right now is as code, so we can see more policy as code. For example, writing a certain policy on how you should remediate the leak secrets, the rotation of the secrets, and integrate that into the already like existing tooling. And like what I can see much more, and I quite like that, is the education, because like the technology itself won't solve you the problem. What can solve you the problem is educating the developers. So there are a bunch more projects, one of which I can highlight, which I've been testing, is something called OWASP, Wrong Secrets. It's basically secrets managed, focused, vulnerable application for trainings. So there are like bunch of trainings, a bunch of like applications that are vulnerable, that have leaked secrets, and it's your role to find those and to mitigate those. It's available publicly on the internet. And it's, for example, one of the projects that I'm quite fond of. So hopefully they will do more stuff. So like it's like education, it's automation, and probably like implementing more of the least privilege principles, because like not everyone has to have the access to the secrets.
So do you have any more anecdotes or maybe personal insights you wanted to share when it comes to this problem that we are talking about? Because I think you feel like we sharing something maybe funny?
Well, actually, not probably it's not that funny, or like it seems
the consequences are probably not very
yeah,
funny.
exactly, like from like after some time it seems a bit more funny, but like actually I have done a lot of sins as a developer. I have hard-coded a bunch of secrets, and when I was young, around like 16 years old, I was working for this small local company which was creating an ERP system, basically the system that can help you manage your spendings within the company, that can help you with HR agenda and this kind of stuff. And let's say the company was like a smaller, there were a bunch of older developers, and I had, let's say now we can say it's a funny story, but like there was a certain developer, and he was doing the company work on his personal laptop, which is one no, and in combination with that, he was quite addicted to gaming. So he was playing a bunch of online games, and one of which was Armor Games. Armor Games is a studio that has a bunch of Flash and indie games that were like mainly browser based, and you can like create your account over there. So he created his account within the Armor Games, so he can have his user profile there, that he can share his badges, that he can have his progress within the game saved and this kind of stuff. And he used the same password that he is using for the work-related stuff. And in 2019, the Armor Games got leaked. So like his password got leaked. And in combination with this, because like his password got leaked, and within the company he was using his personal account, not his company account, the attackers were able to get to the source code of that project, and basically to push it publicly. So like people were able to like steal the source code, and like for that certain employee and for that certain company, it didn't end up well. They are not existing anymore. But like looking back at it, I was like, okay, so like this is a cool story, because like it has all the trademarks of the stuff that could go wrong. You can like use the personal stuff for your work stuff. You can use the same password for all the stuff which is wrong. And most importantly, there were like a bunch of hard-coded secrets within the code base which got leaked this way. And there are like other ways how it could got leaked. But yeah, this was more of a tragic story rather than funny story. But it was something that really stuck to me, and I do remember back then, because like I was questioning it. Not the secret management stuff, because like I wasn't aware of it. I was hard coding everything back then, which I admit, and I hate to admit it. But I was like quite asking a lot of questions of why this person is using his personal stuff for the work, personal laptops for his work related stuff and this kind of stuff, these kind of things. So this was probably my tragic story.
Yeah, actually it's a sad story, to be honest, but this also sheds light on the problem of sharing the same password, because maybe some people are not aware that even though your system, or maybe you have 2 or 3 different providers and you share the secret, you are actually exposing yourself to the multiple layers of the risk, because it is only one that needs to be exposed or leaked in order to compromise all of the other places where you have reused that same password, unless you have some robust MFA, so multi-factor authentication. So the password itself is not the only needed authentication against your persona to get access. But recently I discovered the very fact, which was something that stuck me a little, that SMS codes are not that good, because I just found some tutorials. I have not had a chance to play with it, but using the SDR radio, software defined radio. SDRs are those kind of radios that you can program on your machine. You just need an antenna, and software defined radio, you can just listen to the signals, and GSM is not that secure system at all. There are particular ways you can just listen to the radio signals and just receive SMS. It's not easy, of course, but it's possible to hijack a signal that SMS value can be leaked, because it's just a radio waves, right? So imagine that you are very determined hacker, and you know that your target is a person who uses MFA with SMS. You can just be, smart enough to get to some proximity to this person and use SDR radio to hijack the SMS code, which blows my mind, because in my opinion MFA is completely game changer, but even SMS can be an issue. Or spoofing the caller ID is I up until I did it myself, don't tell anyone I did it, that spoofing caller ID is simpler than ever. It's just if I want to use your caller ID, I can call your mom and say that she needs to send money to your account and provide my account, and she would be thinking that this is Hung calling, because on her phone number there would be a caller ID that I have used that belongs to you. So these are many flavors of hardcore situations where even if you use MFA, there is still a risk, which is even deeper when it comes to the problem that we as developers are trying to solve.
Okay, actually, I am flummoxed right now. With my mom, that would be a problem, because she would probably see through you, because she only speaks Vietnamese. So you might probably not be a good imposter in this case. But yeah, actually, I wasn't aware that you can, for example, spoof the or get the SMS and serve as as a man in the middle within this case. Mm-hmm. I was aware of the fact that you can spoof a phone number. I've looked into it in the past. I haven't done it actually, because I'm mostly doing the blue teaming stuff, but I'm also interested in all the hacky-tacky stuff over there. So yeah. Do you plan on ditching your web development career and starting to creating more of this type of the content? I might be a fan, so I'm just asking.
I don't know, but red teaming sounds really interesting, and when I dig into this as a person who also, for example, because the things that I mentioned, probably I don't remember, but I also listened to the podcast, for example, of someone who, because I'm not a red teamer, I'm more on the blue side. For those who listen, blue teaming is more on the defensive side. So, for example, we are here more on the blue side. We are trying to leverage the skills, the ideas, the practices, and the tools to build more secure software. So this is kind of on the blue side, but on the other side, the red teaming and red side is trying to break in the systems. Those are all those people who are imitating the hackers and malicious actors and try to break what we as a developers, because I now identify in this position as a developer, as a builder, as an engineer, and what we are trying to discuss here as all the bluish stuff, so that how can we make sure that what we build is as secure as possible. But as I said, on the other side, the red teamers are going to try to prove that we did the bad job and we allowed the holes to be extrafiliated or penetrated by malicious actors. So this is something to really consider. And when I think about it, when it comes to MFA from the developer's perspective, those tools like Google Authenticator or Microsoft Authenticator, based on the algorithmic approach, is very interesting. And for example, in Web Security Dev Academy, we have a module where we implement this Google Authenticator approach. So from the theoretical perspective, so that you don't need SMSs, you don't need even a connectivity to the internet, because it's based on some completely different approach, based on the algorithmic approach. For example, time-based one-time passwords is using a clock and using a hash because you have the idea of one-time passwords, but another variant is time-based one-time password. That is taking the time variable input and generate a valid one-time password. And it's basically pretty easy. If you understand, of course, what you're doing, it's basically pretty easy to implement this multi-layer multi-factor authentication based on time-based one-time password in your application, and then force the user to use an authenticator, for example, to generate this one-time password. Then the user that is trying to authenticate types this into the login screen, and then the verification happens, and it must match. So that's just a small hint that it is not that hard, and you don't have to have any sophisticated solutions, because it's cheap, it is efficient, and it is easy to implement. Any other comments on our agenda today? Because we are going to be hitting to the end of this recording. I think that we had very interesting insights about secrets management, different stories from the trenches, as well as the, as usual, insights and tips. Do you want to add something on top of that, Hung?
Actually, no. I really enjoy our talk. Thanks for giving me the opportunity to appear on your show. Definitely, please send me the link to the Web Academy, because from like the algorithmic point of view and these kind of stuff, you got me hooked. So please send me the link. I will sign up. And maybe one more message that I would like to share with the audience. Please, for the love of God, don't hard code secrets. Thank you.
That is the very message of this whole conversation today. So I believe this is going to be helpful, or at least spark some curiosity of the problem space, and you will start digging into this topic more and more, and maybe it's going to save your company, as in the story that Hung mentioned, that the company, because of the problem with the secret or password, disappeared from the market, which is very unfortunate, because they got completely destroyed by one single problem with the password that should not have happened. And we probably try to advocate for the solutions that can prevent from this to happen. Thank you very much, and until next time.